bad. There are some good things about boxing. I try to focus on the good things in boxing because there's always so much negative. There's always so many negative things in the world to focus on. So I try to always focus on the positive. So yeah, for every Tank and Shakur, or for every Tank and Boots thing that we get mad about, or Ryan Garcia, you do have fighters in America that are doing things the right way, the honest way, the old school way. You have your guys like Brian Norman Jr. You have your guys like Angelo Leo. Those are fighters that are vicious fighters, real deal. They don't do a whole lot of talking. Well, the Normans do talk a little bit, but I'm saying they don't do a whole lot of bloviating. And when you get in that ring with them, you know you're not getting cheated as a boxer fan. You know you're getting an honest fight. So that's why I'm behind them, because I feel like when it comes to boxing in America, those are the two fighters that are doing the best of representing around the world what it means to be an American fighter. So with that being said, let's talk about Brian Norman Jr. because it was reported today by the fine folks at Top Rank Incorporated that Brian Norman Jr. has went ahead and signed an extension with Top Rank. So that being said, I look at this as a success story because when you're truly successful as a fighter, your career is going to go through ebbs and flows, and it's not about adversity, it's not about failures, it's not about struggles. It's all about how you respond to the adversity and how you respond to the struggles. So did I start off as a massive fan of Brian Norman Jr.? No, I did not. I thought Brian Norman Jr. was not what was advertised at first. I was hard. If you go back and you watch, I was hard on Brian Norman Jr. I thought originally I was hard on Brian Norman Jr. for turning down what I thought was a good fight for him with Jaron Ennis, right? But then time has a way of revealing things. Time has a way of revealing things and exposing things that sometimes you can't see in that moment. So I've had to go ahead and humble myself. And I've told Brian Norman Sr. myself, man to man, face to face, and on YouTube, that, hey, I was wrong. I was wrong. I had you guys all wrong at first. And you guys have proved me wrong. And I'm looking forward to you guys hopefully continuing to prove others wrong and be one of the flagship fighters of boxing. So this is a guy that was one fight away from getting cut by Top Rank. And when his back was against the wall against Santillan, who, by the way, people want to say Santillan was nobody. Santillan was 32-0. I know from talking to a lot of the matchmakers at Top Rank, especially Brad Goodman. I know from talking to Brad Goodman at Top Rank that Giovanni Santillan was a guy that the matchmakers and the staff at Top Rank were pegging behind closed doors as the future of the welterweight division. You guys may not know that. You guys made that downplay, but I'm telling you guys, not what I think, what I know from talking to the staff at Top Rank. They were pegging him behind closed doors as the future of the welterweight division in the post-Crawford Spence era. And guess what? Brian Norman Jr. went in there and he beat the brakes off Santillan. And he didn't just beat him up. He beat him up in such a memorable fashion where not only was I excited, I was excited to see him fight again. And it's very hard. That's very hard to do with me and most boxing fans. He became somebody that we had to care about because he forced us to care. He got out of the ring and he forced us to care, So to me, I look at this as a success story because now, because he's proven himself on 3 different occasions in his last 3 fights, Top Rank has said, you know what? We're going to go ahead, Brian Norman Jr. We love what you bring into the game. We're going to invest in you. We're going to believe in you. We're going to have you fight on our platform. And this is what Bob Arum Jr. said. He said, I'm following, and I quote, Brian Norman Jr. looks to me to be a future pound-for-pound great. His improvement over the last couple of years has been enormous, but that will be eclipsed by what is to come. We are so pleased that he is elected to re-sign with Top Rank Boxing. So there you go. And I'm happy for him because, again, this is someone that's earned his spot at the table of big-time boxing. This is someone that I have an immense amount of respect for with Brian Norman Jr. because he's doing things the honest way. And if you guys go back, I would highly encourage any and everybody to go back and watch my interview with Brian Norman Jr. in Japan. Because I was there. I went to Ohashi Gym multiple times, and I saw him prepare for Jintazaki before he got the knockout of the year. And I want you guys to go look at what he was saying in that interview. He was saying, look, a big reason why boxing is where it's at today is because these fighters don't want to, step to the plate and they don't want to follow the footsteps of a guy like Sugar Ray Leonard or the greats. But we're trying to not just follow those guys' footsteps, but we're trying to be superstars around the world and bring boxing back to the essence of what it used to be. So when people ask me, say, BT, why do you like Brian Norman Jr. so much? It's because at this present moment, the way he carries himself like a fighter who cares about bringing boxing back to the essence of what it used to be, right? He had a great interview recently, right? Brian Norman had a great interview recently with my main man, Coach Malachi Williams. Shout out to Malachi Williams, who does great work Make sure you guys go subscribe to Coach Malachi Williams, True Media Today. Good guy, you know, great work, consistent. You know, one of the only channels I listen to on YouTube. He did a great interview with Brian Noman Jr. At their gym in Atlanta, and Brian Noman Jr. said something. He says something very amazing, not just about boxing but about life. He said, "Look, you know, a lot of these fighters are trying to be like Floyd, flashy and flamboyant. They're trying to, you know, just flex on the gram all the time. Like, look at this money. Look at my clothes. Look at my cars. Look at this." But Brian Noman Jr. said, "You know what? I don't fight to be that. I fight for the common man. I fight for the blue collar people. I fight for the everyday people. You know, the people that really gotta go to work every day and get it out the mud. That's who he fights for." Brian Noman Jr. is an honest man. He presents himself as an honest man, and he fights for honest people. He fights for you guys. A lot of these fighters, they'll say, "Oh, you're fighting Uber drivers, you're fighting DoorDash workers, you're fighting dudes at these places," and that's a slight on everyday hardworking people. And he made a great, he made a great point about that. It's like one time I was talking to Sean Tuttle, right? And at the time, the whole Will Smith controversy was going on. When Will Smith smacked, what was it, Chris Rock? When he smacked Chris Rock because Chris Rock was, disrespecting his wife, quote unquote. But yet his wife was disrespecting herself because she said she was in an entanglement with August Alsina, the R&B singer, you know, defiling her own marriage. You know, she disrespected herself. She disrespected Will Smith, but Will Smith disrespected, you know, Chris Rock by smacking him because he was talking crazy about that, right? So I told Sean to tell one day I was telling Sean, I was like, man, you know, it's crazy, Sean. Will Smith won all these Academy Awards. He was in all these movies, made all this money. You know, he did all these great things in his life. He made more money than I'm probably gonna see in my entire life. But you know what, Sean? Will Smith is a fucking loser. He's a loser because his wife don't respect him. You know, his wife don't respect him, and he's not a man worth respecting. You know, you over here doing all this bullshit, and she like, I told him just like that. So I say all that to say that in society these days, a lot of these fighters, a lot of these athletes, a lot of these people, they want you to worship them. They want you to idol worship them, right? And they think they're better than you. They think that you guys are peons. And the reason I like Brian Noman Jr., the reason I like Angelo Leo, the reason I like Rafael Espinoza is because all these three guys, they all carry themselves in a way where they're with the people. They care about the boxing fans. They care about their careers. You know, they care about the essence of the sport. Now, Espinoza, you know, I like Espinoza, but his promotional company may not let him really be what I know he is. But I know he's somebody that wants to fight the best. But Norman and Leo, them two right there, I know them two. They care about the boxing fans. That's why I like Norman in Japan. And from what I've seen, he never turned out an autograph. He was happy to talk to everyone. He was even happy to talk to my ass, you know, at 2 a.m. when I met him at his hotel after the biggest win of his career. So it's like, I feel like, you know, this is a true success story. Success isn't about money. It's not about cars. It's not about jewelry. It's not about how many bad bitches on Instagram that you fucked. It's all about how you carry yourself, the impact you leave on people. How do you push your craft forward? You know, that's real legacy. You know, being someone that the people can talk to and relate to on an everyday basis. That's real legacy. That's a real champion. So you ask why I like Brian Noman Jr., you ask why I'm rooting for him, because Brian Noman Jr. is one of the handful of fighters, especially from America, that has really conducted themselves the way the old school fighters used to conduct themselves. And that's why I fuck with Brian Noman Jr. So I'm going to leave it at that, man. I'm going to leave it at that with him. Actually, yeah, I'm going to leave it at that with him. So anyway, let me go back to the comments because I know you guys got things you want to say. Shout out to everybody here. It's True Squad After Dark. Yeah. Shout out to the people that listen, shout out to all the people like, you know, that are in blue collar industries. Like for me, I've had all kinds of bullshit jobs in my life. Like I worked in a check cashing office. I hated it. I worked in the deli at Publix making sandwiches. I hated that. I bagged groceries. You know, what else did I do? I worked in a bagel shop one time. I worked at Save a Lot. You know, I had some jobs I really, really hated, but I never did no blue collar jobs. So people, the welders, the construction workers, the people that really, really do hard work. Teachers, these are people that deserve the respect. And I feel like in society, particularly with my generation and on down, people like to shit on, the everyday working man. And it's like, nah, those are people that deserve the most respect. So have some fucking respect. Anyway, I'm only on one tonight, guys. I'm only on one tonight. Whoever wins, Haney versus Norman fight should be in the top 10 pound for pound. I agree. I can't hate fighters that are stepping up to the plate, and both those guys have shown to be that. An extension with Top Rank, is that a good thing? I think it'll. I no, I'm optimistic. I think it'll turn out to be a good thing because you gotta look at it, right? Top Rank now, as of right now, they haven't announced any sort of TV deal. I think by the end of the year, they're gonna find their footing. They're gonna find a TV deal, and they're gonna make, just as long as Brian Newman Jr. keeps getting knockouts and being in great fights, they're gonna do right by him. That is gonna be one of their franchise fighters. I'll put it to y'all like this: if he knocks out Devin Haney, like a lot of us think he will, I think his next fight will be a homecoming fight in Atlanta, right? And I think Atlanta has a lot of potential as a boxing market. It would really get behind someone like Brian Newman Jr. Someone who's a homegrown talent, who talks like he's from Atlanta and is a great personality for the sport. So I think it'll turn into a good thing. But who knows? I do have some skepticism, but to me it's a success story because of the fact that they were gonna cut him. They were gonna give him that pink slip if he didn't beat Santion. Norman become one of my favorite fighters now. Wow, how life is. I was betting on Santion going into that fight, and now Norman is one of my guys. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is a guy that, had a lot of hype when he was signed, didn't perform well in the fights that he was on TV for. And then because he started kicking ass and taking names and doing it in a vicious and memorable fashion, time and time and time again, people are now starting to get behind him. And on top of that, he's conducted himself like a real champion. You want to fight in Japan? We'll go to Japan. You want to fight in Saudi? We'll go to Saudi. And he's showing you guys a lot of skills. He's doing things. He's speaking to a lot of truths in boxing and beyond boxing that I really, really am happy to hear fighters speak about. Because a lot of these fighters, they just want to flex. They just want to be bootleg Floyds, and you're not Floyd. Be yourself. Be your damn self. It pays. In this world, the best thing you can be is yourself and be authentic.